So I've got things laid out on my desk ready for some collage work in this pre-worked concertina, and I've been creating some more papers. I shared in a previous video. I'll put the link into this video notes just in case you didn't see it, and I've got my imagery and things of the ramshackle buildings on the wall. Hello, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. So I'm going to be working over my collage concertina sketchbook as a warm-up approach. But before I do that, I just wanted to remind you of a couple of things. Firstly, I have a number of online courses and I will put the links to those in the notes. The first two, Making Your Mark and Your Sketchbook Journey, are already available. And I'm working on a third one about collage and collage approaches. The other thing I wanted to just mention is my website. I have a shop on my website with my paintings. So if you haven't already had a look at those, or if you have any questions, just let me know. But I'll put a link to the shop and to my most recent series, which was the Wild Flora series. That's on there, but also other paintings as well. So I'll make sure that the links are in the notes. And as I say, if you've got any questions or want further information, then please don't hesitate to get in contact. Okay, without further ado, I'll turn the camera around. I would use this sort of approach of collaging and working over the background in this concertina in a slightly different way. Oftentimes I'll do this sort of thing on location. For this series, or at least for these books I'm doing now, I'm thinking of using memory and drawings that are on the wall and other things, and perhaps using this approach a little bit like warming up and getting my mind into being a bit looser and more abstract. And so instead of, well, probably in addition to working on pieces of paper and small pieces and other things I usually do, I'm probably going to use this approach as a bit of a warm-up. So today I'm just sort of exploring a little bit, really. So on the desk I've picked up, collected some of the papers that I've recently made that caught my eye. I probably got far too much. And then I've just got some piles of the older paper I used to do the background, some text, some gouache paint, and then some mark making tools here. And I'm probably, if I was out and about, I'd be using a Pritt stick. But as I'm in the studio, I might well use this matte medium if I stick things on. So I'm just going to see how I go, really. It's just a case of sort of loosening up, evolving, seeing what works. I'm quite liking these brown papers. Get a bit kerfuffled with the colour, but that's probably not really that important. I might start by just getting some pieces torn and see where it gets me. So really I'm just playing around, looking at not just the papers but really the angles of the papers, because it's struck me as I was looking at this page that I needed to sort of start to think about the topography and the way the buildings sat relative to each other, these ramshackle sheds, and putting one at one angle and one at another seemed to work. So that's really what I was doing, is building up that picture of shapes, essentially, using the papers and being tantalized by some of these lovely colors like the greens and the orange, and laying it out so that it gives that impression of the peeling of the surfaces and one layer over another. And obviously I'm not building up layers in the same way on this concertina, but I will in the paintings. And then the green at the top is referencing the bank that these sheds sit on. And I'm trying to simplify here. So I'm using some gouache, and then I'm using some art graft, and also to make that those top shapes, and also some pencils. So I've opened the concertina out so that I can start connect. So this was the piece I was working on, and I want to tie it into the first piece I did, which was done when I was in the northeast, but it wasn't done, well, some of it was done in front of the sheds, but the huts, but most of it was done in the camper van. And so again, from memory and thinking it through and so on. So I'm trying to now connect in, and it's quite nice because the kind of the blue sort of traverses across, and you get that feel of the quirkiness of the sheds without it literally being very specifically created sheds. And for some reason this block is kind of, I mean, it's nice to the extent that I've got, you know, sort of like there's a dance going on with the papers to take your eye through. But I want to break this up a little bit, and I'm thinking of using some of this green on the brown paper, just to not, you know, just to kind of connect it in and to, yeah, so I think I'm going to add that in. There's nothing major really. I'm really liking this blue and how that connects in, and there's this little slither of blue there. The other thing which I think works really well is having it so that it's all different at the bottom. So this comes all of the way down. This is a strong part. This kind of finishes short. This is much shorter with all of the buff things going on. So there's a kind of a feel rather than a literal plonk, plonk, plonk. So I'm going to carry on. Okay, so I hope that you can see this. The light's faded, so I'm using the light now on the stand. So I'm hoping that it's clear. So I've put the camera above. So on this end was what I had previously done, and this is really the main bit between my fingers here that I've been working on, and then I've started to do some bits here. So what I'm looking now at, and I'm thinking it's kind of too busy. I need to give some clarity to it, I think, to make it more readable. So if I look at that, that's kind of more busy against busy. I want some better breathing space. So I found this piece of paper, which was one of my ripped up drawings from previously. So I might put that on there because it kind of lightens it, and it gives that feeling of the banks and the vegetation. So, and I just wanted to break some of this kind of greyness up, so I might just put that there. And as I've been saying, I'm trying to get the feel without being too literal. Obviously there's the marks that are very reminiscent of the ramshackles, these roof scapes, and how this sort of little sort of upside down, or these U shapes, and then these the wooden slats on the roof. So sort of trying to get that sort of feel without it being too prescriptive. So here I am just adding those papers in, and I'm using also gouache to lighten things, and especially at the top of the roofscape as well, and to provide more breathing space for the image. And now I'm just using a woody. Okay, so this is where I'm going to leave this particular page for now. I may come back to it and simplify. Unlikely I'll add anything, but we will see as I move through the book. Sometimes I do come back to pages, but what I think it has been quite nice for is getting into a little bit of a sort of a looser, fresher approach to warming up in the studio alongside doing mark making and other things I already do. And I think this book will actually be quite a valuable resource actually as I move through developing the paintings. And as you can see, I've started to connect in here now and made a nice kind of connection there. But this page is to be developed. And obviously that was the first page that I'd already got done. So I think it's quite nicely, this particular piece that I'm working on is quite well integrated, which is quite nice. And we'll see where it goes. But thanks very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe if you aren't already, which I've already mentioned. And I will put those links, as I mentioned, as well, to courses and my website in the notes. And please do like and make comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I'll catch you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.